C# exceptions. This doesn't mean probably what you think it means. I'm not going to talk about exceptions in C# as the English language defines it. Exceptions are occurrences that take place in our app when the code does something that C# or .NET rather doesn't expect to happen. And what happens is it throws an exception, which is basically an error. And this error doesn't just confine itself to its own space, it takes down the whole application with it. So obviously, this is something we need to be acutely aware of. We also need to know how to deal with it. Open up your c#pad.com and let's find out how to deal with these pesky little exceptions. Let's start by defining a string called my name is equal to Grant. Now let's try and convert that to an integer. Integer my num is equal to convert to int16 my name. And can you see what's going to happen here? Well, you cannot convert a word to a number. So when I click go, we are going to get input string was not in a correct format. That's a nice error. However, in an app or any kind of software, that error would crash the entire program. These errors do not confine themselves to their own little space. They like to take down the whole system with them. So, there are two ways of handling these errors. Number one, don't do it in the first place. Do not convert something like a string with a name in it to a number. Don't do it unless you really, really have to. So the best cure in this case is prevention. However, there are times when you will have to run code that could fail. So let's look at the solution for that. I'm going to paste this code back in. What we can do is surround the line that you expect to fail with something called a try-catch statement. So we surround the line that we're interested in with try. We open and close some curly braces to surround it. And then we type catch, open brackets, exception E, open and close curly braces. Now, anything that gets attempted inside of try, if it fails, the error or the exception is passed over to catch, and we can execute a bit of code based on the assumption that something has failed. So inside of our catch statement, let's send ourselves a developer message, console write line, called error. And then let's add on the exception message, which is contained in e.message. So let's click go. This is going to fail again, but we'll pass ourselves over a message. Input string was not in a correct format. Now in this second case, our app will not crash. We just get a message back as the developer. If you are going to present this to a user as a message, you would never say e.message, because input string not correct format is very confusing for an end user. You would say, hey man, you put your name in when you should have put your age. That's a bit silly, isn't it? You would give them a message that they can understand. So that's the basics of exceptions in C#. An exception is basically an error, and that is something that you can catch inside of a try-catch statement when you expect a high likelihood of an error to take place.